Hello, darlings.
Hello, podcast listeners.
This is the Witches, Magic, Murder, and Mystery podcast.
It sure is, and I am Kara.
And I am Megan.
And we've got a Tuesday side piece for you.
Very, very exciting.
It's a short one again.
Oh, well, I mean, that is what the Tuesdays are supposed to
Yes.
be. They're supposed to be short.
Short.
Every now and then I'll start researching something.
Same.
And I'll be like, this will be perfect. And then it's like
It's
so
a
long.
full episode.
And I end up having like a 30-minute
Yeah,
Tuesday, but whatever.
it's fine. I actually found this when I was researching another episode, and I was like, that's a Tuesday side piece.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's called the Basel Papyrus.
I'm sure it is.
It definitely is. I know that I Googled and heard it once, but now I don't remember because that's just how my brain works.
Uh-huh. I completely understand.
Yeah.
And I'm not pregnant, so.
No, it's fine. ADHD is great. Okay, because I can't take my meds right now. So there's a team of scientists at the University of Basel, Switzerland. I'm pretty sure I'm going with Basel.
I'm going with
It's
it.
not Basil like Basil,
Right.
Basel. And they found a 1,800-year-old papyrus from this collection. And they think it's written by a famous Roman physician.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is just paper.
Yeah,
right?
just little papers with little
Yeah.
writings all over them.
Why do they call it papyrus? Do we know that? I need to look that up. Like, I feel like that's something I've learned at some point and forgotten. A material prepared in ancient Egypt from the pyphy stem of a water plant, used in sheets throughout the ancient Mediterranean world for writing or painting on, and also for making ropes, sandals, and boats. Okay, so it's
Wow.
just paper.
Just paper.
Old, super
Just
old paper.
Really old, cool paper.
Okay.
So it has survived this long.
Yeah.
So at one point, this was owned by a family of Germany. It was the Ammerbach family. And then they didn't have any more people in their bloodline. So this papyrus ended up at the university. The people there were just like, okay, we've got to figure out like what all of this says. So in 2010, they're like, got it. They had to use like special lighting and like special tools because it's forever old.
Yeah.
So they're trying to look through it, and they have like the pieces sandwiched between two pieces of glass so they're not constantly touching them. And they're
Mhm.
using like all these crazy lights, and they have like all these papers, and they're like, usually like these papers are going to be like receipts or just something random like a list or writings or
Right.
things like that. But they were like, there's a couple parts in here that have us like really thrown off. We don't understand it. We don't know. And we're just not sure. We need more time to figure this out. So they were granted a 2-year grant from the Swiss National Foundation. And so they were like, we can dedicate all our time to this.
That's all I would want to do. Because you're talking about something that's like 1,000 years old. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because this is reminding me of that, Antikythera
Yeah.
device. Can you imagine having a piece of paper in your hands that's that
Oh
old?
my God, yeah.
I mean, I like finding letters that my mom wrote when she was a teenager. I think that's cool. And that's
I know.
not nearly as old.
No.
So I just love thinking about who this belonged to
Right.
and how many hands it has
touched it? Yeah.
just how many stories this piece of paper has. It's
Right.
just like really cool.
So these few pieces of paper that they were like, we have no clue what these say. Like I said, there's several that are like receipts or just like lists or something like that. But they're finally like, oh my gosh, there's several layers glued together. That's why we can't figure this out. We've got to get somebody to help us unglue these.
And I would be terrified of just like messing it up.
So a specialist, they were a restorer. They asked them to come to the university to help them take apart the sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally got to decode them.
Oh, cool.
They said in the quote, we can now say that it's a medical text from late antiquity that describes the phenomenon of hysterical apnea.
Hysterical apnea?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Oh, you just like, it's
Okay.
really great. It's really great. That's why I went with this. So they said, we therefore assume that it is either a text from the Roman physician or an unknown commentary of his work. After the Greek physician Hippocrates,
Hippocrates.
yeah, Galen is regarded as the most important physician of the antiquity.
Oh, wow.
They said the decisive evidence came from Italy, and experts saw parallels of the famous
Do it.
Ravenna
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you did that perfectly.
papyri
Yes.
from the chancery of the Archdiocese of Ravenna.
I think Ravenna's right.
Ravenna. They said these included many antique manuscripts from Galen, which were later used as
palimpsests and written over.
Palimpsestes.
We're doing great.
God, why? Why are these words in here? So they were just like, okay, well, this is all medical information.
Yeah. So not only we're speaking about highly medical terms and very old and super scientific. So you picked a great.
I love it so much. And then they were like, okay, well, the rest of this is in Latin. Mm-hmm. So it had to come from this era. So traders got a hold of it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's all gone around, but we don't think it's really been messed with. We think this is the actual person's information. So
it shouldn't be hard to date it. So I'm sure they're
So hysterical apnea, Megan.
Yes, what is it?
They don't really recognize it today, of course, but it's used a lot in these old texts, and it just really shows what men thought of women's health.
Oh no.
Women sometimes became really upset or distressed, hysterical, Megan, that they would temporarily stop breathing. But men didn't do this. So they said it was hysterical apnea, and it was only a women's disease. So I
don't understand.
They believe that mostly widows were prone to this. And in the text, they put it, those who previously menstruated regularly have been pregnant and were eager to have intercourse, but were now deprived of all this or prescribed remarriage.
Oh. That'll fix you.
It'll fix you.
You're afflicted with the disease of womanhood.
Womanhood. They said that it was anxiety, a sense of suffocation, tremors, sometimes even convulsions and paralysis. So,
I don't understand. Are we talking about like panic attacks or something? Yeah, like, why did women stop breathing?
But this was hysteria, Megan. So
because their uteruses.
They believed that the hysteria was triggered by the wandering womb.
My womb. There it goes again. Where is it today?
Listen, it's a womb that has become too dry from lack of use. Intercourse. And such an unhappy womb just bounces around in the person's abdomen.
It's like, help me.
It's like a root trying to seek moisture from other entities inside the body.
Well,
and then it hits the liver sometimes and suddenly suffocates the person from the inside out. So that's where the apnea is really coming from.
I'm still so confused about what was actually happening.
Right. It probably menopause.
But they stopped breathing. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Are you sure? No, it's the womb suffocating the internal organs that then in turn cause the person to stop breathing.
Well, clearly. That's definitely how science works.
Yeah. So his cures for this specific hysteria were purges, administrations of various herbs, marriage, and the repression of stimuli likely to excite a young woman.
The repression of stimuli? I thought they wanted you to be excited.
Right? They want you to be...
Only if you're married, baby.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what do you mean?
Don't seek pleasure in things that...
But if you're married, you shouldn't be having this problem, right? According to this.
Right. Yes. So that's why I said it typically happened to widows.
Like, I get...
Or unmarried women.
I get that we can't judge too harshly that they didn't know better, right?
Yes.
But to your point at the very beginning, it does say a whole lot that these are the conclusions they came to. Like, this is what they thought of.
Figured it out.
Well, it's got to be their wombs.
The womb is getting you. They said that there's a couple of like missing words and some lines, but they said that based on other phrases in the papyrus, that they were like, oh, this is exactly his text. This is where this word goes. This is what this is. Like it would just be like pieces, but they would know that looked exactly like something else in another part of the books or pages. So they were like, yeah, he's really talking about... He's a doctor, and he's really talking about dried up wombs.
Yeah.
Attacking the internal, bouncing around inside. trying to seek moisture.
I wonder how
Also-
common this was. Like, did everybody just have a virus?
Or was it like a hormonal thing, when like certain things happen to your body and you just have issues getting things going and it just
I mean, this is just the weirdest.
so somebody like went to him and was like, listen, I tried this and I just can't get away.
And I'm just like, I'm still
like, "I
stuck
got
on
it.
like,
I
why'd
got
they
it."
stop breathing? What is happening? What do you
I don't
mean?
know. I don't know. It says, we will probably never have the ultimate proof unless another copy of this work pops up among the papyri, which is clearly states that Galen is the author.
I'm pretty sure that's not going to
I
happen.
don't see that happening.
Weird.
Isn't that the strangest thing? I was like, this needs to be.
It is. It is always fascinating to me to hear the description
The-
of women's mental health in particular.
Exactly.
Back then.
The way they just thought about everything. Oh, I know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, it's that vagina.
It's the vagina.
Made her crazy. You're like, okay.
All right, sir.
Maybe it's you making me crazy.
Exactly.
Sir.
Exactly.
Oh,
You want me
man.
to get remarried? That's your prescription?
I don't even mind the implication that a woman's hormones like affect her
Right.
thinking and because
Yeah.
listen, I'll tell you, I'll just be flat out.
Mm-hmm.
100% my hormones impact my brain.
Oh, yeah, for
Everybody.
sure.
That's not even,
Yes.
let's not
Yeah,
brand
yeah.
information. But like I've noticed, let's all talk about my period. Ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Thousands of listeners.
Man, I haven't had one in a long time. So amazing.
Well, I do think it's important for anybody else that might deal with this and maybe hasn't put it together yet, because it took me a long time to put it together. But once I did, it was life-changing.
Yeah.
I started noticing that in the few days before my period starts,
Mhm.
the self-talk that would happen inside
Yeah.
my brain was completely different
Oh.
from the rest of the month.
Mine's angry.
Mine is so angry, paranoid,
Yes.
self-critical.
Yeah.
I mean, in those days, it is like, you look terrible.
Yeah.
Everyone hates you.
Mhm.
You
And
have
I
no
hate
friends.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. I don't think I didn't have that kind of stuff.
Okay.
It was much more of a paranoia.
Yeah.
I talk about it like it's past tense. It still
No,
happens.
it always.
But the difference is now because I don't ever think like that.
Right.
But when it happens, it's pervasive. It is like it will not go away.
Yeah.
Just for like 48 hours.
Yeah.
So the thing is now I have recognized it as like, oh, I'm about to start my period.
This is
Okay.
what's happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And once I realized that like, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah.
It helped everything.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not just, like I said, it's paranoia in general
Mhm.
that like this thing is going to happen. This person is
Mhm.
saying bad things about me.
Oh,
This
yeah.
whatever, and-
this one phrase, I'm going to take it completely out of context
Yes.
and run with it. And
In a
it's
way that I
now
would never
controlling
do.
my life. Yeah, exactly.
And so once I noticed it, I learned like, okay, let's not act
Uh-huh.
on any thoughts I have.
For at least 3 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then inevitably I would come out of it and be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
That's
All
what
right.
that was.
And that would go like mine's paranoia, Kara's is anger.
Mhm.
Yours could be depression or something like that. And
Yeah.
just if you can start to recognize that it's like,
That's what it's leading up
it's
to.
temporary.
Oh, yeah.
Just recognize it's not real. It's your hormones, man.
Yeah.
And they mess us up.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, back to the tangent. So back to the whole thing. I don't even mind that they're implicating that women are different. That's
Right.
fine. But it's more the implication that men are never affected.
No,
By
they don't
hormones.
have hormones.
Men don't have, and it's just like,
You
it's okay.
Yeah, they
It's
can have feelings.
okay. Yeah. So
Our wombs are just living
wombs,
in-
my wombs. I mean, I think we've come a little ways since then.
Yeah.
But, I think it's important to recognize
Right.
what hormones could do to a person. And apparently here they can make you stop breathing.
And it'll suffocate the rest of your organs.
that womb bouncing around in there.
Bouncing around.
That's such a strange.
Like everything is pretty much placed in there. Like at the moment, mine's like all crunched up.
I
in there,
wonder
but like, how did they?
What gave them that idea?
Yeah, like you don't have an ultrasound machine.
Right. So why did they think their wombs must move around?
Mm-hmm.
That's bizarre.
Ooh, but I wonder because you know how like your uterus and stuff will like get bloated
Uh-huh.
whenever you're getting ready to start your period for like that week. I wonder if that's how they were like, oh, but you weren't like this last week.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's causing all your other organs to.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Exactly.
Yeah.
And why were they like, it's seeking water?
It's so parched. It's dusty. Ready to
Real
do
cobwebs in there. Tumbleweeds.
Oh man. Well, that was delightful. Thank you. I love, again, thinking about something that old. My grandparents, I think I've mentioned this, they sold antiques. And so I always prefer a super old thing to a super new thing.
There's all the character in it.
Yeah. And just the stories, who owned it before me,
Right.
who, who touched it,
Right.
whatever. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So that papyrus
Yes.
is pretty awesome that it's survived this long.
I know.
Yeah.
And that somebody was like, yep, here's a grant to like finish doing what you're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Watch those wombs.
All right. We'll be back Friday with another episode.
Yay.
All right. We love you
So much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.